Not sure if we're on yet, so I'll just wait a moment for my screen to say we're live. So, hey everybody, Barry Kleiman. It took a couple days off to digest what the phone, TV, the news of the world, as Chrissy Hines said. Um, Thought quite a bit about connection, which again is all that really matters to me, and certainly the past few days with our election has, I think, challenged a lot of people's connection to themselves and certainly to other people around them who may have wound up on a different side of the result, both sides, um, and how they relate to people. So it was important to me, because connection is important to me to kind of really think through what I wanted to put out to anybody who cares to listen to any of my drivel, and also to think about it for myself. I may have said this before, it was taught to me by a teacher of mine, but if you're looking for new ideas, read old books. So, one of the first things I did was I went to one of my favorites, this kind of a personal Bible of mine, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and I thought about Dr. Covey's comment that there's only really three constants in the world: change, choice, or three constants in life, I guess he said: change, choice, and principles. So for X amount of people, 50, 48, 51, doesn't matter, percent, large hunk of people, there was change. And you have a choice to make, right, with how you handle the change. And if it's principle based and you want to say you're a person of principle, then you'll. My, my Apple Watch is talking to me. Sorry. If you want to say you're a person of principle, then you'll really dig deeply into your principles. Um, and figure out how you want to react to the world. I know. So anyway, change, choice, and principles. There, I was telling a friend of mine again. I have this highly associative mind, serial plagiarist, and there's a line that came to my mind from a Dylan song, "Positively 4th Street," which has got to be, shoot, 60 years old. You just want to be on the side that's winning. I think there are a lot of people out there who, in light of the fact that their choice won, Donald Trump, that they are just dancing in the streets, and which is great. Celebration is fine. Getting up in people's faces about it, not fine. Okay, not fine. I'm if you're happy, I'm happy, right? I did not vote for Donald Trump, but this is not a political conversation. I have my own reasons for voting for Kamala Harris, but um, someone on one of my threads, and in fact, I'll quote Stephen Curry here in a little bit. Someone on one of my threads said, "Well, it's the end of democracy," and somebody else said, "No, democracy worked, and it did." So if you're principled and you're principled about democracy, then democracy won, right? Change, choice, and principles. Now, if you're just upset because the person you backed didn't win, mm, that means you can only be happy. Your principles are only such that if I win, that's the only way to be. I'll, I would challenge somebody on that because, again, if you're here for a greater good, then it's a greater good. And if you live in a democracy, then the people have spoken. And you're talking to somebody here who did not vote for the eventual winner, but it is what it is, and on we go. Democracy won, which is honestly what Stephen Curry said. And he, again, big supporter of Kamala Harris for his own reasons. I would imagine somewhat similar to mine. But again, this is where we are. Um, Paul Simon had these lyrics, and I'm quoting him to kind of keep this moving a little bit. In American Tune, I don't know a soul who's not been battered. I don't have a friend who feels at ease. And I do have a lot of friends who feel that way. Um, we're here. And again, we chose to live in this democracy. So I get not being happy about the end result if that was your choice. But If you're principled about democracy, then I would say, yeah, you cannot be happy, but at the same time, um, what's your principle? That only when what you want happens wins. Is it okay? Mm. If that's the principle, then I think you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Anyway, so again, talk coming from a person whose choice did not win. I read this great story this morning, which is why I wanted to kind of close this out by talking about Frank Sinatra, whose name I put in there. So I think I covered Covey and Dylan and Paul Simon, and this is a story about Sinatra. And I just read this morning. It's a story that the actor Chaz Palminteri was apparently invited to a party, a dinner party at Sinatra's house in Malibu, and I guess everybody was outside. Then all of a sudden, the whole crowd, for whatever reasons, went inside. And again, I just read this story this morning. The whole crowd went inside, and Chaz said I was alone with Frank out there, staring at the water, and he asked me to get him a martini. Frank saying to Palminteri. Then he asked me to share his olive, and I didn't know what he meant. And apparently, he said, "Come on, Chaz, share my olive. Here's an olive." And he held up his martini, and he took the toothpick out with two olives on it, and he gave me one. So I took one. He held it out. I took one. He took the other. And we both threw them in our mouths, and he tapped me on the back and said, "Let's go inside." And I found out later that that sign, "Share the olive," is a sign of friendship. And I'll never forget taking an olive from Frank Sinatra. Do you have an olive to offer somebody in some way, shape, or form? Some people, again, will act out. I mean, the world is full of people who don't know how to win. And I think that's evident everywhere. That's why so few organizations win. That's why there are, guys like Steph and Curry who are enormously talented, and then there are guys who are also talented but never win championships because they don't really know how to win. They're lost in their own dogma where Stephen has a worldview. And winning is hard. So for the people who want to act out and dance around, if that's your principle, then we'll see what happens. We have 4 years ahead of us to see what kind of job our new president-elect will do. But dancing in the street and is fine. Shoving it in somebody's face, hey, if that's who you are, then that's who you are. But those are your principles. Those are your principles. But they're not mine. And I would consider, if you really want to make the world a better place, and if you really want to help the president-elect, then figure out how to make it all good. Figure out how to share an olive with somebody, because that's kind of where we are. And again, change will happen. Change will happen. So figure out how to attach your behaviors to principles that are sound, because at the end of the day, there's only one ball out there. And if we can't figure out how to share it, then we're kind of fucked. Sorry for the F-bomb. Stay safe, everybody. We are where we are. Connect, continue to share olives, change choice and principles. Share the ball, share an olive, and stay safe, please. Thank you.